You have great power.
Faster than a speeding bullet, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman Returns. I'm Roger Ebert.
Thank you, sir. I'm Richard Roeper. First up is the most anticipated movie of the summer. It's Superman Returns, and while I can't call it a home run, I'll say it's a solid base hit. I guess that's kind of faint praise for a mega-budget blockbuster about the most revered comic book hero of them all. But that's really one of the problems with any Superman movie. The Man of Steel and his alter ego, they're just not as complex, as dark, and interesting as Batman or Spider-Man or even Wolverine. He's just so darn wholesome.
You know my, Richard. He's a pilot. He takes me up all the time.
Not like this.
Now that's a nice little homage to the Christopher Reeve Margot Kidder flight in the 1978 classic. Now, Roger, there's been a lot of talk about Brandon Routh's resemblance to Christopher Reeve, but I think he's a ringer for a young Ken Wall. Director Bryan Singer and the special effects crew deliver some first-rate showcase action sequences as when Superman rescues an airplane that's plunging and plummeting toward the Earth. Kevin Spacey has a couple of juicy scenes as Lex Luthor, but he's camping it up so much there's not a real sense of menace.
I just want what Prometheus wanted.
Sounds great, Lex. But you're not a god.
Gods are selfish beings who fly around in little red capes and don't share their power with mankind.
No, I don't want to be a god. I just want to bring fire to the people.
And I want my cut.
With a running time of 2 hours and 37 minutes, Superman Returns does drag in some spots. But even with all that room for exposition, there were still times when things seemed a little jumbled, and Luthor's plot to take over the world by creating a new continent seemed convoluted beyond my caring. With an iconic hero who leads the masses, is tortured by his enemies, has his arms flung out at one point as if he's on a crucifix, and even has a resurrection of sorts, Superman Returns could have been called The Passion of the Clark. Still, thanks to some rousing action sequences, a lively supporting cast, some beautiful cinematography, I'm going to give this a mild thumbs up.
Well, thumbs down for me, and I think that both the Superman and as Clark Kent, Brandon Routh is a man of very few words. I mean, this movie gives him so little dialogue, I wonder if they just didn't think he could act. I don't know. There's no chemistry at all between Clark Kent and Lois Lane, who apparently does know who he really is. There's no chemistry at all between Lois Lane and her current boyfriend. The editor, Perry White, is just a bureaucrat now. Jimmy Olsen, the copy boy, isn't that perky kid any longer. And as for the young son of Lois Lane, I mean, think of the opportunities they would have had to make that kid into somebody who was bright and sassy and cocky and always getting into trouble and always doing things, and instead he spends most of his time just kind of staring at the camera.
Like the son of Zorro was that kid.
Yeah,
well, you know, Roger, I have to say I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I gave it a very mild recommendation because I really did like the action sequences. I thought Kate Bosworth really misfired as Lois Lane.
Yeah,
really,
she doesn't have the Lois Lane.
She's kind of shrill and disagreeable and not much help. You know, you want Lois Lane to have a little bit more pluck to her, if you will. And I will agree, too, about Brandon Routh. I mean, he looks like Superman. I guess what, you'd expect Superman to look like. But Christopher Reeve had a real gift for that kind of screwball comedy where Clark Kent was this real likable but just
here
kind of
he's
a
just
disaster.
A lump.
Here he's just more of a lunk. But I did like the action. I did think there were some scenes that were just absolutely gorgeous. So a mild thumbs up, but I see what you're saying. I think a lot of Superman fans are going to be disappointed.
Another thing, Kevin Spacey is not your Lex Luthor to go up against Gene Hackman, that's for sure. And his plan for this new continent.
Well, the plan never makes sense.
When you see this continent, not even a billy goat could live on it, let alone
I don't know
people.
if Doc Ock or Magneto had better plans. You know, most of the villains, the plans are pretty crazy.
No, but in this case, it's, and then all of New York floods, and then apparently later the floodwaters recede and are never mentioned again.
Well, okay, those are the things
So
that...
I really felt it was a disappointment.
All right.